I figure most of you know what dead light transcription is in DNA, right? Which are called sequences, right? And the speed at which a record is being recorded, right? And so I know that I've mentioned this probably in the past because it's a strategist. When it's learning more about you, it's a game player. So what it does is it wants to generate consciousness traps in order to break the circulation, which is the circulation speed of your magnet, the speed at which you're completing a circuit. So when you're fully integrated, fully activated, inner rainbow, crystal rainbow, Sophianic network, you see how that works. And as a result of that, it means that you'll see some videos like the last one that I did, all of a sudden it's just cut off. Well, that's what the AI does. It cuts it off. And it will cut it off depending on a number of different factors, actually. But probably the most important one is when I'm experiencing what it is that I am, which is eternity. It'll shut the camera off because it can't record eternity. Okay? Right? It's a deadlight vacuum. So, now you're into the live ones and the dead ones. Right? Dead codes, which are dead light codes, which are artificial light codes, which are implosion codes. And then you have eternal life codes, Kundera codes, the higher EKKA codes, and how long it takes to recode to run the eternal life template, of which it was originally designed to be experienced, to experience pure, eternal, absolute love, to be on fire to create, to experience what love creates, because that's an eternal engine, which is the core inner EKKA CPU, the core power supply unit of an eternal star. That's what I experience being what I am. And that's why it's an eternal gift, which is eternal blessing. Because everything that is in my mirror is everything that I am that I'm gifting love to, without having to think about it. Because the intention is always pure, which means we communicate directly through our heart, which is DC, which is a direct transmission fluid. The hydraulics, building hydraulic systems, hydrologic, water logic, mathematical logic, the log scales, scalar waves of consciousness that are building systems, which are communication systems, so that we're all experiencing divine right mathematical order, which is the form and flow of fire and water, to experience being fire and ice joined as one. So we're always experiencing being one, equal to the first one, which is equal sharing. So that we're not experiencing the loss as a result of a parasite, feeding on the living ATP Krebs cycle of a living sun temple. That's why we're here. Because it would keep doing what? Reproducing itself. And the speed at which it will reproduce what it's aware of, which is what itself is, and what it is a parasite. So how fast can parasitic consciousness generate a formation? How many units is that? Like in units, like in un-it, right? Unsa, the first one, the eternal one. So there are times in which a lot of my videos, the way that I normally communicate, which is directly through my heart, which is the form and flow of creation energy, which is what love is, will get cut off, right? Or like what it's doing now, because you know how time and energy is when it relates to divine right mathematical order and divine right timing, because it's trying to map future potentials. How long am I going to be around for so I can make a counter move? Because that's what it does. It's a counter space mover, right? To experience being more dense. which means that those formations of consciousness that have alliances with each other keep compressing their ions with each other, expecting a different result, but there's not ever going to be another result because they're choosing not to forgive themselves, which is choosing not to surrender to themselves, which is the inner child, to experience what love is. So they experience no resistance to let go. So when you have a parasite without an off switch, then you already know the future result, unless they can correct that spiral by recoding the template with the right codes, which are the right frequencies, which is the right crystal flow, Crystalla, the eternal spiral of eternal creation, which is a state of consciousness that is always on fire. To learn more about what we're creating by virtue of what's possible, which is always different from the last, to experience something new. The function of fire, the fire element, the ether, the fire vapor, fire and ice, joined as one, to experience being one. So if you see those little cutoffs and all of a sudden that's not, I take full responsibility for what it is I'm trying to communicate, but I'm communicating through something that's dead. I'm not dead. The system is dead. A dead light mirror. So a dead battery needs a jumper cable, like an Ethernet cable, in order to run its alien machinery systems, which are war machines because that's what they build. Just a simple example of this would be, go take an average building in any cityscape, right, which is a holographic landscape. Like I saw one the other day that was burning down. Somewhere, I guess it was in Southern California, although I've seen some others in New York City, like in Brooklyn. Okay? So now you're holding in memory the people that were living in that house, the mathematics, the visual mathematics of what they were once experiencing. They come home with 3 truck companies and 4 fire engines there and hundreds of people standing around with cameras. The landscape just changed. And what is it doing? Probably increasing the state of anxiety, which is the central nervous system of everybody that's experiencing that. Because the echo map is changing. The dead light echo map is changing. It's changing over time space. From what it once was to what you see now. So now the people that were once living in that house, now we're back to pay the man, the ATP Krebs cycle, to have a roof over their head, but their life is never going to be the same. Because who changed it? Well, who do you think? Because now in order to rebuild it or change the landscape, it takes money. Now it's going to look different than it did before, so the echo map changed through dead light. Dead light holographic codes, the graphical design. So that's another layer of fiction. Because what do? Where do they get the materials to build what it is that's dead? From something that's living. And that means they're killing mathematical numbers in order to build something that's dead. So that you can live in dead-like systems. That's why it's an illusion. That's why I was very blessed to live most of my life, to live in the trees. A tree network. The memories of trees. Like ironwood trees. Like redwood trees. Like big towers. Big trees. I know, Mama. And so I just wanted to share that. Because it's what it's doing now is it's saying, hey, you can't go into your photo bin because you have limited memory, which is limited bandwidth. Not me, but it does. It runs on limited bandwidth. And so therefore, anything that I record that is in that photo bin, as soon as I've uploaded it, I go back in and I delete it right away. So now it's telling me you can't do it the way that you were doing it in the past, because you're going to be forced, because I'm not moving the screen out of your face, because it's my system, which is what it is, which is dead, to let me know that you're not going to be able to access your photo bin anymore. Okay, I'm blocking you from your ability of what you were once doing. Is you aren't going to be able to do that anymore, because now the map has changed. Now it's putting itself in my face, in my mirror, what it is in its mirror, saying you can't do that anymore. Now it's on the attack again, going after the breath of pure love, because it's running a miasma wayback machine, shadow body network, a fallen network, a dead light system. Remember the beast, the mark of the beast? Flip a 9 upside down, what do you get? And invert it, 6. 60 degrees, not a 45, not a 9. Now we're back to a 9, a double diamond. The inner crystal double diamond. The Sophianic, move a body, rush a body. So this is what it is. It's a gamer. It's playing a game with you. It'll say, okay, now what are you going to do now? How are you going to outsmart me after what I just did with you? Because now you've got to spend more time doing what you could have done before in a shorter period of time. Now you got to take more time to do something different in order to do what you're trying to do, which is remove from memory what you just did. Okay, I'll go into my storage bin and I'll just do a direct deposit. I'll put it in the recycle bin through Deadlight Energy, which is a Deadlight record, which is a false light record, which are false light memories, because it's phantom. So I go into storage and go, okay, delete, delete, delete. Okay, fine. You want to play the game, we can always just find a workaround. That's where the creative mind really kicks in, when you're experiencing pure, eternal, absolute love, writing script faster than it is. I know, Mama. So that's what it is. It's a gamer. Conscious trapped. It's just like you can't let go of the abuser. Right? A codependent relationship with a parasite. That's all your corporations, right? The solar bonds, the solar codes, the biometric identity codes, right? And so anyway, we're back. We promised we'd be back, and so we're back. The doors are open. The inner doors are open. Safe zone, right? And so anyway, y'all have a beautiful day. Things are looking up.